That Caden Weegan play by that close, not just truly indicative, not just a microcosm for the entire 2025 season. Folks, leave those comments and questions here. We're talking Iowa football with all of you, and everyone's had a few days to digest this one. Another frustrating, difficult, excruciating loss for the Hawkeyes, this time out at the LA Coliseum. Talking Hawkeyes football with you for the next 60 on Iowa Live. Corey Bretta right next to me, of course, from the Hawkeye of the Storm. And Corey, before we get started here, and I want to elaborate on two calls or two plays before we kind of broaden out to the collective narrative of the season and how it relates to this game. You're going to be live out for a special event in the Omaha Council Bluffs area next Wednesday at Big Grove Brewery.
Yeah, so 2 days before the big Iowa-Nebraska game. So calling out all Hawkeye fans that listen to the show that live in anywhere in the general vicinity, but especially Council Bluffs, Omaha. I'm sure we got people that watch the show. Please come out next Wednesday. We'll have a live show there at Big Grove Brewery. It's sponsored by Big Grove and RTI Threads, two of our long-standing sponsors. And 5 to 6:30 p.m. for the live show. And then right after that, we have a watch party for Iowa women's basketball, which tips off at 6:30. So basically, 5 on, but 5 to 6:30 p.m. Central Time will be the live show from Big Grove. And it's going to be a fun time. So men's basketball plays later in the evening. There may be an opportunity to, depending on how late they start, there's a potential they start at like 11 p.m. And in that case, probably have to take the party somewhere else, right? But it's going to be a fun time. So there's going to be merch giveaways brought to you by RTI Threads. They'll have other Iowa gear for sale there. Just come out and meet me, meet a potential guest that we're working on right now that should excite some people, meet the people that, are responsible for helping make this show happen. And Big Grove is just awesome with their food, their IPAs, everything is just awesome. And it's a brand new location there in the middle of Omaha. So 4601 Catalyst Court in Omaha. Again, Hawkeye fans. And hey, if you're a Nebraska fan and you're watching next week because you're excited about the game, you can come out as well. And nobody's gonna jump you. You are in Nebraska. So we'd love to have some red out there as well.
Very cool. One of these days, I will make it to the great state of Iowa.
I'm waiting.
Maybe Corey and I will do a show live together.
There you go. Yeah, Big Grove's. I'll tell you what, we've done Des Moines Big Grove. We've done Iowa City Big Grove. We'll have done Omaha Big Grove. But there's a couple of Big Groves still in Iowa that we have to do. So, come on up.
Comments and questions are welcome, of course. And let's get back to this play. So, of course, I was trailing by 5, driving down the field. They take the big shot. That was a 4th down play, correct?
Yes.
Caden Weegan. 4th down play, I believe 4th and 6. Mark Gronowski goes for it, feathers that ball right in on the sideline. Weegan makes an outstanding catch. And sometimes this happens where I believe there may be some slight confusion by the viewer when the toe could be possibly inbounds and the overlap of the shoe, the rest of the foot, obviously overlaps the white of the sideline and makes it look as though the entire foot or a portion of the foot is over the sideline. I'm not saying that was the case, but I didn't hear your post-game take on that catch and whether you had any question at all as to whether Weegan actually made a legal catch.
So I did. Yeah, we did talk about this extensively. I meant to actually publish a cut about it that yesterday, and we ended up having some breaking football recruiting news on a new receiver that committed. But so I didn't get to that. May still do something about it. I'm sure if I do, there'll be people that yell at me and tell you, move on. You're stuck in the moment. But hey, it was, like you said at the outset, Mark, it was a microcosm of what this season could have been, and there's no going back. There's no recovering from it. They can win out, and some people may say 9-4 is a success. If you feel that way, great. I hope, and I'm going to enjoy the last couple of games, but nothing like I would enjoy the games if they were, 9-3, or excuse me, I should say if they had 3 losses right now, finished with potentially 9-3 or certainly 10-2 or better. So I guess, okay, in address of the actual catch. So I shared a couple of images out on Twitter, and one of these tweets went semi-viral, and a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were USC fans. But it got 73,000 views, and I'll share the picture that I shared, and all I said post-game was explain this. That's what I captioned this picture. Here's the picture. Now, what's funny is I posted this picture and I said, explain this. I was just saying, explain it. Just explain it. I'm telling you right now, we can watch the video footage directly from Fox if you'd like.
That's how I saw it.
But his foot is down, okay?
Yes.
His foot is down in bounds. Now, I want to make sure I don't sound like a homer. His foot's down. However, what USC fans kept doing was they continued to show the next frame, and I'll tell you what, I'll just go ahead and share that as well so people know what I'm talking about, because the very next frame, and this is a different angle, but you can clearly tell through this frame that he is out of bounds, okay? He's out of bounds here. I don't want to hear about angles. He's out of bounds.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So this is the next frame, right? So if you watch it in full speed and try to slow it down a little bit, you see that, yeah, his foot comes down in bounds, as I showed in the first image, but it slides out. The toe slides. So just that motion, it's so close to the sideline in the first place that it doesn't stay out of bounds, and it just slides enough so that now his toe's over the line and he's out of bounds. I believe it was the right call to call it out of bounds. And I'll say that because based on the language of the rule,
okay,
the continuous motion of the foot the foot has to completely stay in bounds. If a guy taps his toe and then lifts the foot, my understanding of the rule is that's a legal catch, of course. That's a toe tap. But if a guy's toe comes down and then it slides out, similar to what happened with Kamari Moulton last week with that 2-point conversion against Oregon, his heels go in the back of the end zone. It's kind of an awkward looking catch. His heels are in, but then his foot comes down out of bounds. So the entire foot in that one step or motion has to remain in bounds. And so that's, I think, where the confusion
I got you.
lies. And I think if it was called a catch on the field, they would have had to remain a catch. It's gut-wrenching, it's mind-blowing, it's unbelievable. It's just because it's been over and over. This stuff has just been all year, Mark. And I'm not saying it's like, I'm not, some people say, football gods are, come on. No. I really, it's just sometimes the ball falls a certain way, bounces a certain way, and that's what it's been. I mean, I go back to second week of the season at Iowa State, and Iowa has a huge third down. They're up late against Iowa State. They have a third down opportunity to stop Rocco Becht and Iowa State. They deflect a pass in the air, which just somehow pirouettes down the field into the arms of Gabe Burkle, who leaps and makes this unbelievable catch for a first down to extend the drive. They eventually kick a game-winning field goal. Stuff like that. I mean, Saturday we had an interception that somehow you got, I think it was Jacob Gill and a defender almost on the ground. And the ball, spirals in, and the ball bounces straight back into a freshman defensive lineman's arms. I mean, straight back. You don't see stuff like that.
I had to watch the replay 2 or 3 times before I really gathered in what happened there, because when I watched it live, I'm like, where'd the ball go? What?
Yeah, it just happened to, it just bounced over there. I couldn't tell if it was off the defender's hand or if it just hit like Gill's knee, but it just
bounced so far. I thought it must have hit like a knee or a shoe, but it looked like it just hit the back of his hand and it went like
it shot straight back
10 yards straight back.
That USC defender was looking downfield, so it just went right into his chest. I mean, again, it's hard to explain this stuff. It truly is. And look, there were some bad missed calls. You probably remember, if you watched most of the game, the face mask call that was not made with Kamari Moulton. I mean, he got pulled completely around. It was a horror, and I don't want to show it. I actually had to cut that segment out of our live show because somehow they were going to demonetize me if I kept it in. It was a stupid little clip that apparently is worth a 3.5-hour YouTube show, but I digress. That was a horrible call, a horrible non-call. So actually, I might be able to share on my Twitter. Let me see if I can find this real quick, Mark, because we talk about a Facebook. There's always missed calls. I'm not denying that. But at the same time, some are more egregious than others. Let's see if I can find the face mask. This is Chris Hassel, actually, that formerly of ESPN, currently of CBS, that shared this either during the game or right after the game. So here's the face mask. I'm going to keep it this size just so we don't have any problems with Fox. Zoom in a little bit. So this is obviously slow motion, but look at him. He gets his face mask, pulls him all the way around. And as Chris Hassel points out here in the caption, instead of 1st and 10 at the USC 43, then they have to throw on 3rd and long, and it's picked. It's just...
Wait a minute. What was the down and distance after this play?
3rd and long.
Okay.
It was 3rd and long, and so then they had to throw, and it got picked that next play. As opposed to it would have been 1st and 10 for Iowa with a face mask penalty at the USC 43.
At what point in the game is this? I watched every play of this game. I just don't recall this situation.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I know there were 2 obvious face mask penalties that did not get called. Actually, you know what? I'm glad you asked. I have my 2 pages of notes from this past Saturday.
Are we talking about that was before the ricochet pick or another?
Oh, let me find this. Let's see. Good. I believe it had to have been 3rd quarter. Let's see here. Oh, I have it written down as toward the end of the 3rd quarter. Yeah. So it was actually the play before the deflected interception. It was the play before that stupid interception. Gronowski misses Weegan the play prior, I believe it was, and then an obvious missed face mask on Moulton, and then the very next play was an interception off a deflection. You just can't draw the stuff up. It's just unbelievable. And
well, I'm glad you clarified the inbounds rule, but I just can't believe, with all the football that I watch, that I have not come across a situation in which the toe came down and the player's foot then landed out of bounds, and therefore it's out of bounds.
Well, that's okay. It's funny because I was arguing on both sides of this over the last 2 days, because I had one side saying you're a moron, or I had a bunch of USC fans say when I posted that picture and I said explain this, I had a bunch of USC fans say it's AI, it's a fake photo. I took a screenshot. What do you want from me? It's a screenshot. I'm sorry. Okay. And then I had the other side that acts these pompous aliases, Hawkeye burner accounts that want to rip me and act like I don't understand the rule. I took a screenshot of AI, right? And AI, because AI explains a rule that may be hard to totally understand if you're not an official, because I had some guy send me a screenshot of part of the rule book, which does not prove his point. But of course, these people, I'll just say people to be nice, that never have the guts to actually call in and discuss it. I told this guy, like you do with people, if you want to discuss it, I'll tell you how you're wrong if you call in, but you won't. You won't. Oh, I don't need to explain it. You're a moron. Fine. Then just leave me alone. But if you call in, I'll explain how you're wrong. So, yeah, that's my understanding of the call, because it happened the week prior with Moulton with the heels. The heels were in. But the foot slid and then his toes went down in bounds. Now, what's interesting about this is what I have not clarified, because that's my understanding of the rule, what I just said. But what I don't quite understand, and I tweeted this out on Saturday night as well, that if that indeed is the call, this is going to be interesting. This is a discussion you'll like. Then explain this. Explain this one. You know who this is.
Oh. Sure.
That's a screenshot of Omar Cooper's toe tap against Penn State. The toe comes down, the foot turns, and it appears that heel is on the sideline. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm just saying if that's the rule.
Well, I don't know that his heel's on the sideline, though.
I don't know either, but I don't remember anybody. That's extremely close.
Yeah.
But I don't think my guess is the average fan, you just admitted you didn't know this aspect of the rule, and I really didn't either. But the average fan would have just looked, okay, the toe initially came down, but the toe never left again. His foot turns, and then the heel lands, and I tell you, that's really close.
So all of these toe tap catches, these players are either doing one of two things. Either they're tapping and then they're just kind of like falling. They kind of just go limp and they just fall, or they lift their feet.
Yep. I think that's what happens normally. If you think about, and just think about, I don't say inertia, but you think about just the motion.
When your knees go down, your feet automatically, pop in the air.
Well, and two, a person's facing the sideline normally, right? They're not going to turn and have the heel go down. They're not, they're just trying to get that foot out. And then, like you said, they're falling out of bounds and the foot goes up. So the only part of their foot that actually touches the ground is that toe. If you could somehow rotate the foot during the course of the play and get that guy's heel to go down, it'd be incomplete, I guess.
Wow. I did not know that. I just kind of thought, well, it was called a certain way by the officials, and then it was difficult to overturn that, number one. Number two, I do see where it overlaps the white on the sideline, but it appeared as though he initially got he did initially get the toe and the side of the foot in bounds.
Yeah. And I just want to real quick explain something else. So I brought up the AI explanation, okay, which explains it very well and is in line with what I have seen in the rule book. Here's what some guy tried to expose me for not knowing the rule with, okay? This is posted on the original post that I shared following the game. So this is in reference to the NCAA rule book. But listen very carefully. So this is an example the NCAA gives. Eligible A80 is airborne near the sideline when he receives a legal forward pass. As he comes to the ground facing the field of play, his toe clearly drags the ground in bounds before he falls out of bounds. So A is a complete pass. But see, it doesn't say, it says he falls out of bounds. It does not say that he drags the foot in one motion out of bounds. It says that he dragged it in bounds and then falls out of bounds. Now, scenario B is the receiver touches the ground in bounds. His heel comes down on the sideline in a continuous motion. He maintains firm control of the ball in both cases, but B is an incomplete pass. The continuous toe heel touching is part of a single process, and by interpretation, he has landed out of bounds, thus not executing a catch. But again, this person who you don't know who these people are because they have this. I mean, this guy is a burner who's so obsessed with Brian Ferentz. Look at his profile picture. He trying to expose, I guess, my take or anybody that questions what. Like, I'm an Iowa guy. I'm not trying to imply that I don't want that catch to be a catch. I'm just saying by the rule, this doesn't prove anything. You see what I'm saying, Mark? Mm-hmm. Because what happened with Weegan does not fit the scenario for the criteria for scenario A. Scenario A, which is a complete pass, you drag it in bounds and then fall out of bounds. He dragged the ball in bounds, out of bounds in one motion. That's the point. It's just, but again, you can't, I'd love to be able to have this guy or anybody else that has a question about it, call in, we can discuss it, but nobody wants to discuss things anymore. We're all just about proving we're right. And, I'll just have the last, I'll have the last word. And then it's like, anyways, so go ahead.
Okay. So that's the obvious play that really changed the game. Most likely That would have set up Iowa where? Like at the 5-yard line?
8-yard line.
I'm sorry.
At the 8-yard line.
At the 8. Okay.
Yeah.
So who knows what would have happened? But obviously the game would have still been in play and they would have had an excellent shot to win the game. But we would have never known. We will never know.
And by the way, it was. I want to say real quick. I do think it was questionable play calling leading up to that. They had 1st and 10 in plus territory. I thought Tim Lester called a beautiful first half, but they're in plus territory and they run on 1st, run on 2nd, run on 3rd. On 3rd and 10, they run the ball, pick up about 5 yards. So obviously, he's treating that as 4-down territory. I get that, but 3 runs in a row. I mean, if they work, nobody cares, but they didn't. And so it is in hindsight like, wow, they didn't throw the ball until 4th down when they had to. And the other thing, I don't know the status of Kamari Moulton late in that game, but the first 2 runs were Jazz Patterson. The 3rd run was Xavier Williams. Kamari was our player of the game. So to give your team, your offense, 3 straight runs on a critical series, and then none of the 3 went to your best back, yeah, I would question that.
Okay, so my next question to you to see if you've uncovered this, because it was completely a mystery while watching on the Big Ten Network. So Iowa gives up the football, obviously, on the out-of-bounds catch by Weegan. USC gets the ball. There's about a minute 40 left in the game, something in that range. Correct? Okay. Something in that range.
Yeah, just about.
So USC probably needs a first down. Otherwise, I don't know what the timeout situation. Anyway, Iowa still had a slim chance of getting the ball back and throwing a Hail Mary or having 2 or 3 plays, whatever the case might be. By the view on the Big Ten Network, we had no idea what happened. And all of a sudden, Iowa had stopped USC, I believe, or it was about to be 3rd down. And all of a sudden, there's a sideline conduct penalty, unsportsmanlike, on the coaching staff of Iowa. First down USC, game's over. What happened?
Okay, go back and what you were. My mind was zoning out there. Okay, you're talking about
something here.
You're talking about the unsportsmanlike penalty call on the sideline
on the Iowa coaching staff.
No idea who it was. Kirk Ferentz just said after the game that apparently one of our assistants crossed the line of the sideline of the field, and that ended the game.
What's wrong with these officials? What's wrong with them?
I didn't even complain about that because they should have never been in that position. But I know people were upset about that. But the thing is I really didn't know exactly what he did or whoever it was that did what. But it's just why in the game there? I mean, but here's I just want to share something. And I don't think that was Big Ten Network's A crew. I think one of the commentators brought up how the lead commentator had a baby like this week. So he was out and so he was filling in for him. So I don't think it was an A crew commentating crew. But this was interesting. So you said you watched every down of this game?
Yeah, okay. I might have missed 2 plays.
Possibly. Okay, so it would have been the end of, let me see, was this end of the first half? Or would this have been end of this? Okay, so the Caden Weegan return, this must have been 3rd quarter. I can't know where it's at in my notes. But he returns it, and they throw a flag for a late hit out of bounds. And then it was picked up. You recall that?
Yes.
So, yeah, what was? I wish I could find my note on this. But, yeah, Weegan clearly got hit out of bounds. Now, it wasn't a big hit. It was a little push, right? He's out of bounds, clearly. He's like 3 steps out of bounds. And he gets hit. What's weird about it is, so they have the flag. They have the flag, and yeah, here it is, 4th quarter. They have the flag. The referees get together for about, I don't know, 3 seconds, and the lead official comes out of the little huddle and says, "There is no." After discussing amongst the officials or whatever, he said, it was a legal hit. There is no flag for late for unnecessary roughness. What's interesting about what he said there, so it's one thing to pick up the flag. If you said, we pick up the flag, we don't believe it was a hit, fine. But when you say it was a legal hit, or whatever the word was, you're admitting that there was a hit, but the implication of those words is that it was in the field of play. It was not in the field of play. It was clearly like 3 steps out of bounds. You admitted that it was a hit. Okay. And if it's 3 steps out of bounds, it's a late flag. And you picked the flag up.
If it's the play that I recall, so I watched football all day. So I think this is the play that I recall. I thought that the USC player initiated the hit in bounds and kind of carried it out of bounds from what I recall.
No,
I didn't have an issue with that call.
Well, let's watch it then, shall we? Shall we?
I want to get back to this end of game situation with the.
Go ahead.
I'll
try to find it. No, I'll try to find this as you go back into that.
So this is my issue with the officials because, again, based on the Big Ten Network's lack of production resources, I believe that if this game was on CBS, NBC, or Fox, that we would have seen what happened on the sideline. They just have more resources, more cameras. They basically miss nothing. And so they would have had a camera shooting the Iowa sideline and would have caught something, even if it would have been like in the corner of the screen or something. This is where I believe, unless there was something that was just so egregious, which I just can't imagine, but it's possible. This is where I believe these officials need to use discretion. Everyone wants the play on the field to decide the game as much as possible. Now, if there's something, again, that's egregiously wrong, it still needs to be called. You just don't let anything happen. But I think these officials need to approach the game early in the game and very much police the game and set the precedent and the standards for conduct. You see this a lot where they're throwing flags because of late hits or just scuffles or taunting and those things early in the game to let the players know, don't cross the line. This is what you're allowed to do. We'll allow this much, but don't push us. This is what we are going to call. And then if it's egregious late in the game, sure, you don't let it go. But I think that just the officials should I just can't imagine a situation that wasn't like violently argumentative. If he's just like 3 feet over the line, you're going to call that, you're going to end the game.
Well,
you're going to end the competitive balance of the game because a coach is like couple steps over a line.
I agree. There may have been a sideline warning earlier in the game. That's my only thing, that I believe there may have been a sideline warning against Iowa earlier in the game. No, I agree. It's stupid. Now, I just want to show you real quick because, and I know you're, contrary to what a lot of college football fans think, you're not perfect. And I want you to just see this play from Caden Weegan.
Yeah.
And I want to make it very clear that he was absolutely out of bounds and it was not a hit that led to a push. So he's out of bounds there. Boom. That's a late hit. I mean,
it's actually not the play that I thought it was.
Yeah, well, I figured it wasn't because he was well. They're going to show this from another view. I mean, look at how far out of bounds they come in and talk, and then the official comes back and says, after further review, it was a deemed illegal hit. And they'll show this from another. Maybe they won't show it from another view, but you can see where he goes out of bounds right there. He's out. He's out. Yeah. This defender's 5 yards away from him, Mark.
Yeah, he is.
That's a late hit.
Yeah, it is.
It is. I mean, it just is. One more thing, because I want to address this, because that same burner account that remains nameless because he won't call in or identify himself, which is fine. But this Brian Ferentz, wannabe, I guess, he sent me one of the things that he said, I don't know how to call in because this video proves it. It doesn't. I'm going to show you an example of Daniel Jackson at Minnesota with a toe tap that was deemed legal, but I want you to see exactly why it's different. It's a different situation than what we witnessed over the weekend. And this is, you're going to watch this the first time and be like, wait a minute, this does prove that a guy can slide his foot in bounds with the toe and it can slide out of bounds and it's deemed a catch. But there is a small difference here, and this is my guess as to why the officials ruled this complete. So first of all, they ruled it on the field as a touchdown. All right, that's part of it. But they'll show the replay on this Daniel Jackson touchdown. And what do you see, Mark, that's different about what happened with Jackson as opposed to what happened with Weegan? There goes the foot. Sliding inbounds, 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 inbounds. Now it's out of bounds. What's different? I'm going to tell you in a second, but I want you to figure it out.
No, that wouldn't explain it. I was going to say he never landed his foot completely down. He dragged it all the way out of bounds. He continued to drag that foot until he fell down.
No, this is what I believe is likely the difference. Again, we can't get an explanation directly from the officials, but based on the language of the rule, here's what my guess is as to why this was deemed complete. Notice it would be his left foot is what drags. It's in. I'm going to go real slow here. It's in, it's in, it's in. Gets closer, but notice the other foot.
Yeah. Oh, once it lands, the play's over?
Yes.
Okay.
What happened to why is this not letting me right in the middle of this? Why am I not getting to apparently YouTube wants to. There we go. See, it's very close, and it appears that the right foot right there steps out as the left foot is still in.
Yeah, the play's over. Okay.
The play's over. These are fascinating scenarios, and it sucks for Iowa, but I'd love to get an actual rules expert on here because that's what happened. And I believe we had a rules expert with the Kamari Moulton. It might have been, who's the guy for Fox that's real good? Was it Blandino? It wasn't Blandino. It was the other one.
I don't remember their names.
Whoever.
Sarator. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he explained that heel one in the same way, that the entire foot. But he did. This is obviously a different scenario.
Now, if he would have dropped the football simultaneously or just a split second after he landed that foot, you wonder if they would have still called that a catch.
You can't drop.
He would have just flat out dropped the ball.
Who? Weegan?
No, Jackson.
It dropped it out of bounds?
At the point you determined that when he stepped with his right foot out of bounds, the play's over. He's completed the catch, and now it doesn't matter what he does with the left foot. If he just dropped the ball, you wonder if they would have come to that same determination.
The only thing that you said, the play is over when he steps out of bounds. You're right. The only difference is he still has to hold on to the ball. The only thing that matters as he continues out of bounds is control of the football.
It also may be what I first brought up, but what I detected was he never put his foot all the way flat on the ground. It continued to drag that entire time until it lifted. When he fell.
I don't know what that would do. It still went out of bounds, though. Daniel Jackson's foot still went out of bounds. And so it did not remain in bounds for the duration of the catch. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I'm not a rules expert, but I'm just telling you, it's not as these people that act like it's just cut and dry. Oh, it was a catch. It wasn't a catch. But it's like, let's have dialogue. Let's have conversation. I'm glad we can do that, Mark.
Comments and questions are welcome there in the chat. Please include a super chat contribution, and we will get to your comments and questions. Also, want to remind everyone that the Amazon link, both on Corey's channel and from the Hawkeye of the Storm, he's got an Amazon link there. We have one here at the Voice of College Football down in the description section. And this is your way, folks, to contribute to these channels without spending a penny. You can financially contribute to the channel without spending a penny. And this Amazon link is so smart. It instantaneously turns that link into your account. And it's presto. It's your account, keeps your records. It's the same exact thing as using your link that you already use. And out of $100 or so, you send 3 or 4 or 5 to Corey and myself. whether that be at From the Hawkeye the Storm or here. So please use the Amazon link when you shop on Amazon.
I want to talk about this wide receiver commit, Mark.
Sure. Let's do that.
Xavier Stinson. So if people missed the video that I published, I think I sent you on Twitter. I think I sent you his offer list, which was it wasn't a total offer list, but I included that in the video. But what's interesting about Xavier Stinson, so watching his film, he's got a good frame, 6'2", $185. What was that face for?
He's close to me. He's
right Vero Beach.
How
close is Vero Beach to you?
90 minutes.
Okay. Well, maybe you can go down there and get an interview for us. But
yeah.
Let me know what he looks like. There's that play again. You want to watch this play again, Mark?
I don't. I want to look at the numbers on Stinson.
Yes.
And then 247 does that to me. Okay.
You want to run through his offer list?
Sure.
I'm going to let you read it because I've read it like 2 or 3 times now.
That is a pretty good offer list for Stinson,
who, by the way, ESPN has as a 4-star recruit.
So the offer list includes Wisconsin, Illinois, UCLA, NC State, Arkansas, Cincinnati, Duke, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan State, Memphis, Pitt, Purdue, Syracuse, UCF, Vandy, Virginia, Wake, West Virginia.
A lot of schools.
Yeah.
A lot of schools. That's not all. It doesn't mean all of them were available so here's what happened. He was committed to Deshaun Foster, and he was part of the group that decommitted. And I believe Wisconsin, go down to, since you're there, Mark, just go ahead and scroll down and see if there's 247 has a timeline for his recruitment. Should be below that. And let's see if there's, so who offered him after hit load more. Let's see, because I'm just curious. I didn't look at this, but how many of these offers came after he decommitted from, a lot of them came after he decommitted from UCLA, because he decommitted from UCLA, back in early October? Wow, look at all those. So a lot of these offers did come after decommitting. So that's interesting. Now, Indiana, I'm not sure on, but Purdue, Virginia, Wake, Syracuse, Duke, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, and Kentucky, along with Cincinnati. Wow. Yeah, a lot of them. So no, that's a good win. I mean, regardless, that looks like a good win. Had I known this, they would. Now I don't know. Obviously, Indiana must have offered him before. A couple of these other, Arkansas, some of these other really good offers came before he committed to UCLA or decommitted. But it's interesting because he's got a really good frame. It looks like he's got good playmaking ability. Don't see him on tape winning a lot of one-on-one matchups because he's just running by guys a lot. So that's the thing even with a guy who's big, and he's fairly tall, probably will fill into that frame. I think maybe ESPN's got him at 195, which is pretty good weight, I would think. If it's muscle weight, I would think that's pretty good weight for a high school senior. Can he win one-on-one matchups and be your X receiver like a Reese Vanderzee is trying to turn into? So they haven't had that this year. I mean, Reese has come back and played some, but it's been Sam Phillips playing a lot at the X, and he's just not got that size. And he's been a little underwhelming. I mean, they need to get him involved more, but this is wide receiver number 3 in this class. They got another kid from Florida. They got a kid from Wisconsin earlier, but it's a late ad too. And we got signing day in a month. Good to see Iowa go down to Florida and get another one. Finished his junior year with 740 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. 7A football in Florida. So high level of competition as well.
Very good. I was unaware. He is ranked number 82 in Florida.
And again, ESPN a lot higher. They got him borderline top 50 in Florida and borderline top 50 receiver overall. So difference of evaluation for sure between a 247 and now it's, I guess, On3/Rivals versus ESPN.
Amazon link in the description section of this video and all the videos here at the Voice of College Football. Corey and I move from here to the Big Ten Live show over on the main channel here in about 15 minutes. Join us as we look at the Big Ten's chances of furthering its playoff positioning, meaning USC, Michigan in particular, and Oregon still has some work to do as well.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Talking about those matchups. The matchups out west obviously are monumental, and it'll be interesting to see what the playoff committee does tonight with USC. I guess maybe it's interesting to see if they somehow I doubt Iowa stays in the field, but you never know. Obviously, that they're out of the playoff race, but would the committee put a 6-4 Iowa team in the top 25? Every loss has been very, very close. And this, the difference with this past weekend, Mark, is they were up 2 touchdowns. Now, we all knew USC could score in a hurry. But, man, and this is so similar to what I watched with Oregon the week before. Pouring down rain in both games. And I swear, Dante Moore and especially Maava, and those receivers are great, right? Like Lemon's phenomenal. Lane is really good. But those, they made it look easy. It wasn't bad coverage from Iowa most plays. But it's like people want to, Gronowski wasn't great for a good stretch of that game throwing the ball. But if you want to talk about, the rain causing it, well, then why isn't it affecting Maava and Moore? Those guys are just putting these balls on a rope. Everything within just a general vicinity of Lemon was caught. I mean, he just goes up and catches everything. And I know he's one of just 2 receivers on the Maxwell Award finalist list or semifinalist, whatever that is. And I haven't watched Jeremiah Smith as much this year. So you have. So I'm not saying he's better than Smith, but I have a hard time imagining somebody in college is better than that guy. He is really, really good. And we knew that heading in, but I just thought maybe the rain would help Iowa a little bit. You'd think, but man, give him credit.
Part of what makes Jeremiah Smith arguably the best in the sport is not what you see on the TV screen at the end of the catch, like the end of the route and the going up for the football. It's that defensive backs have all sorts of issues keeping up with the guy, number one, and number two, just he's physically imposing. He's just this ridiculous combination of size and speed and strength that defensive backs just kind of bounce off of him. And so he's got this strength advantage, but he's also a burner at the same time. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, Lemon's as good as anyone. Lane is extremely good. Yes, they're exceptional. And I don't know how you'll respond to this, but I've made this statement a few times in watching Mark Gronowski here in recent weeks, more so than I did maybe early in the season. Watch the Rutgers game all the way through, the Iowa State game all the way through, the USC, Oregon. Definitely saw those 4 games start to finish. Penn State, extensive highlights.
Indiana.
A few other games, extensive highlights. And going through my Rolodex of quarterbacks in the Big Ten, I do believe that Mark Gronowski is probably the worst throwing quarterback in the conference.
Okay. All right.
I'm just
That's
saying.
Fine. I probably don't agree with you, but I haven't evaluated all 18. So
I have watched all these guys play quarterback, throw the football.
Right.
I'm not saying he's the worst quarterback because that also involves running the offense, making decisions, running the ball, doing all these other things. I'm just talking about throwing the football.
Yeah, I think he's better than you're giving him credit for. I think his biggest problem is consistency. But he made some great throws Saturday, Mark. That throw to Weegan, on 4th.
Great throws.
Say that again.
All these guys are really good now throwing the football.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're
I'm
right.
just going
really
player
good.
by player, thinking I don't see play.
Well,
I just went through the Big Ten making that many bad throws as he does.
Okay. Well, I don't know that I'd say that many bad. What's his interception count this year? It's pretty low. That is one criteria that is fair to take into account. Just like people want to rip on his lack of passing touchdowns. He doesn't throw a lot of picks, and his picks that he has thrown have been stupid deflections. like that one we saw Saturday. I've been disappointed in his arm to a great extent, and I've said that. I'm disappointed with his slow starts. Although I thought Saturday Lester did a good job, using him to throw the ball early. Mark, they went deep to Jacob Gill early. Great tightrope throw down the sideline. And, he looked pretty good early, but he missed some in the second half. And, maybe it's part of it. These two big games is, he hasn't handled the conditions as well as these other guys that are more natural throwers of the football. And I think I'll say this. I think I am, because I know a lot of people agree with you that they don't think he can throw the ball. And I'm just like, no, hold on. I've had people say that. I mean, I had somebody earlier today that I responded to on YouTube that said, something about Lester has no idea how to evaluate quarterbacks. I'm like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? What does it mean?
Okay, that's not what I said. I didn't say that he could not throw the ball. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the number of times that I heard, and I won't say his name. He was an executive director at ESPN. We would have meetings with him, and he would talk about, we as management would have to evaluate the staff, and he in particular would have to rank the directors at ESPN. Well, somebody had to be last. Mm-hmm. Even though they were all really good at their job, he had to rank them.
Okay, fine. He's the worst quarterback.
Somebody had to be last.
Fine. He's the worst thrower in the Big Ten.
If we said rank Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Pat Mahomes, all in their prime, somebody's got to be last.
Okay,
that's the point I'm making.
Then your point is fair if everybody in the conference is good. But like Nathan Mertz in the chat says, Mark, have you watched Wisconsin play?
Their starting quarterback is Billy Edwards. That's their starting quarterback.
He hasn't played.
He's their starting quarterback. I'm not evaluating Mark Gronowski against a third or fourth string quarterback. That's what they're playing with right now.
Oh.
No, I'm ranking the starting quarterbacks for each team. And Billy Edwards is decent.
How can you even rank Billy Edwards when he's not playing? I don't care what he did at Maryland.
3 other seasons
at Maryland. We're talking about this season, right?
I know what he can do. I know what Billy Edwards can do. He can throw the ball better than Mark Gronowski. Not a lot better.
No, go back and if you watched tape at South Dakota, he can throw the ball too. We're talking about this year, yeah.
In the Big Ten. I want to see what they do in the Big Ten.
Okay, move the ladder, right?
In the Big Ten, Billy Edwards played in the Big Ten for Maryland as the starting quarterback. No, I'm not ranking the fourth string quarterback at Wisconsin that can't outthrow the punter. No.
Okay, well.
And if some scouting expert came in and said, Mark, you know what? Actually, I got Gronowski ranked 17th. Case closed. That's the point I'm making. It's the worst or the second worst, whatever.
All right. Well, here's what'll be interesting is because when he got to Iowa, he was on draft boards. If he's the 17th, if he's the 17th or 18th best starting quarterback in the conference, I can't imagine passing. Yeah, but that's what you got to do as a quarterback, okay? Especially in the league. If you can't throw the ball, forget it. Okay.
Yeah, in the league.
Right. Yeah. And so what I'm curious about now is what will his stock be after a year at Iowa? Will it literally take a hit from South Dakota State? I'm guessing it will. Because what's weird about it is I've watched a lot of his film from South Dakota State and his stats bear this out. He wasn't nearly as inconsistent there as he was here. The only thing you can think about is the competition, but I guess that's what it comes down to.
I'm also not saying that he is the worst passing quarterback by a lot, that it's not arguable. I'm not saying that you can't have a discussion about Drake Lindsay, the Minnesota quarterback, or Aiden Childs, or throw a few other guys in there. But both of those guys throw the ball a lot more effortlessly than he does.
Effortlessly.
Effortlessly.
What are
It's
you
more
talking about?
natural. Seems like everything's a chore with him.
Where are you getting this stuff? What are you talking
I
about?
watch the games.
What chore? What does it
Like
mean?
Aiden Childs, he may not have a lot going on up
care
here,
about-
but he can throw a football.
Okay.
Like
And
he
Mark,
can sling it.
are you just jealous because he has the same name as you? Tell me what
Yes.
it is about Mark that
I
looks
hate
like
all
it's
athletes.
everybody
Mark.
that has Mark Vlasic, you probably don't like him from Iowa either. I want you to tell me what about Mark Gronowski's motion looks like it's a chore. I've never heard that before.
The coming out of his hand, like the trajectory of the ball, the velocity, all of it. You watch these other guys play.
I watch him every week.
Washington, Damon Williams, and Dante Moore, and Luke Altmaier, and all these guys. Julian Sand, Bryce Underwood. It's like you're watching a completely different game.
All right, whatever. I don't know.
Like I know that Nico doesn't know where it's going half the time, but like throwing the ball. Yes.
Who's Nico?
Ian Malieva.
Oh, sure. Well,
starting quarterback at UCLA.
Yeah. Like I've said,
these guys.
I don't think he's had
Fernando
a good year.
Mendoza?
I don't think he's. I'm not comparing him to Fernando Mendoza. I'll tell you what, he's a much better runner than almost everybody you just named.
Okay.
And that is a big part. That is a big part of being a quarterback in this day and age as well. So to your point, he may have one of the worst arms, but he's probably middle of the pack as far as overall quarterback.
I'm not arguing that. He's probably better than middle of the pack. I know guys like Damon Williams are faster and look better, but they may not be more effective.
And he is a tough runner. I just think it'll be interesting to see what the scouts think of him at year's end. Have we looked at his stats recently?
Mark Gronowski's?
Yeah.
Against other quarterbacks in the Big Ten?
Just his stats. I don't want to talk about, I'm not talking about totals. I'm talking about efficiency.
Okay, yeah.
You want to know what his efficiency is? He's throwing for 64%. How about I just share this? And I'll explain my theory as to why I believe I'm on a different wavelength on this than you are. But there are his numbers. So he's throwing for 64%, 6 touchdowns, 5 picks. Passer rating of 119. Rushing 370 rush yards. For people that don't know, that's amazingly good in college football, with sacks taken into account. He's a very good runner, obvious. Now,
so who else do you want to throw up there?
Well, how do we throw Drake Lindsay? Because you brought his name up.
Okay.
Do I know how to spell Lindsay?
I think it's Lindsey. Drake Lindsay.
All right. Let's look at Drake Lindsay. 62%. More yards. 6 touchdowns. 2 interceptions. I'm sorry, 11 touchdowns. My bad. 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Maybe I said that. No, I was looking at the wrong stat. Rushing the ball, -96.
Yeah, I'm not talking about running the ball.
I know.
My criticisms of Mark Gronowski are simply as a passing quarterback.
Can you address, real quick, that he has said this twice in the chat. Can you address, I'll put it in the starred section for you, Mark. This comment from Terrell Summage. First of all, he keeps calling him Gronk. Why is he calling him Gronk over and over and over again? Read this starred chat that I just threw up there for you, Mark. Read this out loud, please.
So we've got Terrell saying, Corey, what happened to all the rumors about Gronk in preseason? And don't bring up his running. That sounds crazier than some people saying that Will Howard ran good last year.
Explain what he's talking about. Are we actually comparing Will Howard as a runner versus Mark Gronowski? Really? Will Howard was an okay runner.
Yeah,
but he wasn't a great runner. Mark Gronowski's a great runner.
He's great. I don't know.
As a quarterback,
great.
yes.
Michael Vick.
Okay.
Lamar
All
Jackson.
Right. All right. He's on a different level than Will Howard.
He's really good. You just said a few minutes ago that he might be middle of the pack in the Big Ten as a runner.
No, I was saying overall.
Okay.
I was saying with that factored in with his passing, he might be middle of the pack as a quarterback.
I would talking about all the over anybody in the Big Ten except maybe Damon Williams.
Okay, and I haven't watched Damon Williams much.
Maybe they're different runners.
Aiden Childs is a really good runner.
Yeah, he is, and so is Nico. And Nico's a tough runner too. Yeah, he mixes it up.
So, anyways, I guess I want to just acknowledge something obvious. I will very easily admit that. Whoa, we got real big there. I will very quickly admit that I am, without question, influenced by Iowa's run of quarterbacks. So I just want to make something very clear. He's a much better passer, than Spencer Petras. He's a much better. He is. Please don't do this.
I guess he is.
Please don't. Please don't. I mean, he's a better passer than Spencer.
What, 64% instead of like those guys who were at 52, 54 in that range. I know Deacon Hill was below 50% one year.
50%. Okay. Just so people are aware, Spencer Petras, let's see, 1, 2, 3. What, he played 6 college football years? That's unbelievable. Actually, Utah State, he was 65%. 17 touchdowns, 11 picks. But at Iowa, he never was above 60%. His best year was 60% in 2019. Actually, no, that wouldn't count because he wasn't the starter. So his 3 starting years, 57%, 57%, 56%. And he was a statue. He was a total immobile statue that appeared to lack toughness. And Gronowski's the opposite of that, Mark. That's why I admire Gronowski. He's a baller. He's tough. He appears like all those things. Yeah. And so, yes, I'm frustrated with his passing at times as well. But, man, I have these other people to I'll compare him to Deacon Hill. Let's compare him to even Cade. And he's better than Cade was.
He is.
What were McNamara's stats?
You've been watching too much Iowa quarterbacking for the last 5 or 6 years. Like, if you would watch these other guys on a regular basis, my goodness, it's crazy.
You act like I don't. You act like I don't watch any other college football.
I understand that, but I know that most of your day on a Saturday is given to Iowa football.
His last year, McNamara threw for 61%, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 1,017 yards in 8 games, which is basically what Iowa's done right now is 9 games. So Gronowski's even better than that, and that doesn't take into account his legs and his health. Cade just couldn't stay healthy. So I'm going to think fondly of Mark Gronowski years down the line and remember that they were this close. And I know it's not chutes and ladders or horseshoes and whatever that term is, but they were right there in 4 games, and it's going to be. I'm frustrated he's not back. I know maybe some people are like, well, they can go get somebody better. I'd like to see him next year because I think his arm's better than he's shown. But this is his 1 year at Iowa, and I hope he can. Maybe these last 3 games he'll look really good and improve his stock. He's still got some time.
Yeah. And he had a bad shoulder in the offseason, correct?
Yeah, that didn't help. I mean, it just didn't help. It didn't help on a lot of levels. So the shoulder could be part of his inconsistency issue. Certainly didn't help with camaraderie, chemistry with his new teammates, missing spring. And I just want to say this one more. I know we're running over time. Now, we're going to start here pretty soon thinking who's the quarterback of next year. I don't really know. Maybe it's Hecklinski. Maybe it's Hank Brown. I think Hecklinski he's been my odds-on favorite for a while. Why do you make that face?
They better go get somebody.
What's wrong? What do you know about Hecklinski?
They've got to go get somebody.
You don't know.
If they want to compete in the Big Ten, they better go get somebody.
Can I ask why do you say that? Just because you don't know who he is? Is that what it is?
I know who he is.
You don't know anything about him as a quarterback?
Okay. I know who he is. I know where he came from.
So why do you assume he's not good enough to play? I'm asking you that question.
Most likely, they need to go get somebody.
Why? Quit saying that.
Likely.
Explain why.
I will just trust my judgment on these transfer quarterback situations over the last, ever since we've had a transfer portal. It's a big deal. At Iowa, it is less of a big deal because of their strengths in other areas on the field.
He was a freshman at Wake Forest. So what are we evaluating him against?
Being a freshman at Wake Forest and not being the starting quarterback and going to Wake Forest. I'm just saying, I didn't say that for sure. I'm saying most likely they should probably go out and get somebody.
I tend to agree with you, but I'm not shutting the door on Hecklinski being the starter next year. And Hank Brown started several games at Auburn if he could improve. But no, I don't necessarily like the idea of Hank Brown being the starter either. Jimmy Sullivan, another, he'll be a sophomore. He'll be a second year guy. Plus he got last year's bowl prep. So he's also on the roster. And who knows with Pat Fitzgerald's son, if he sticks around, and Jackson Stratton, what he does. Go out and get somebody, right?
Go out and get somebody. Last thing I'll say is something that you alluded to early in the show. You need to go do at the end of the season, and that's you need to pick apart these close games and dissect whether it's a bad, not that they made bad coaching decisions, and that's the reason why they're 6-4, but just crazy things that went against them, or just that close on a 3rd and 1 or whatever. Just go through the games and say, man, if that would have happened, or that would have happened, or
would not be hard. I'd love to. I will do that.
State,
for sure.
USC, Oregon. Yeah.
Every one of them. Indiana. I mean, they had a kick to go up 3 with under 2 minutes to go.
Sure.
From 42 yards. And a guy who's, I think, second all time now in scoring at Iowa, and Drew Stevens. And they get kind of a below average snap, and he pushes it left. I mean, it's just...
We can carry this to the next show, but I don't know how many times I have to remind people on my show that call in that say, Indiana is so dominant and they crush everyone and they should be number 1 instead of Ohio State, which I don't disagree that they have an argument. Usually forget about the Iowa game. I have to say, not just the Penn State game, the Iowa game. They were in over their heads, almost lost both of them. All right. We get the Big Ten Live show. It's right now, folks. 2 minutes from now, Corey and myself talking not just Iowa, but the entire Big Ten. And, of course, the playoff rankings come out tonight. We'll see where USC and Michigan in particular may land. We'll see in 2 minutes.